Now, the first one, I'm going to go by pretty quick. I'm not going to waste anybody's time today. I know everybody has a wonderful day to get through. So, the first one I want to get to, this has no video. A lot of people have already seen this. It has been all over everywhere, specifically with Luigi Mangione. Okay, and I believe that's how you pronounce it. If I'm not correct, please correct me in the chat now. Okay? But Luigi Mangione is a person that everybody should know by now. It's been national news. But this is a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate who has been accused of unaliving the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. Now, why I'm speaking about this now, this is something that I really don't want to get into because it's been covered, right, on a wide scale. But I have to talk about this because NBC News dropped an article. Okay, and before I get to the article, let's just go ahead and get a timeline of events so everybody can catch on. Luigi Mangione arrested on Monday for the unaliving of CEO Brian Thompson. That's on Monday. Former classmates recall Mangione's gaming habits, including Among Us. Now, NBC published a story connecting Mangione's alleged actions to the game. All right? I want to put the record straight on this right now because, we want to take, just a couple minutes to get through each one of these segments. We have a lot of videos to watch, and I want everybody to tune in and kind of stay tuned with it, right? But I'm going to keep it honest with you. Do not blame Among Us, bro. This is the most ridiculous ass thing I've heard in a long time. I know a lot of times you want to put the connection to video games and violence into real life crimes. This is a time, I'm sorry, you are not connecting Among Us, a cartoony looking game with characters as beautiful as they can be and all over, and saying that this guy, because specifically he was tied to a group that really loved to play the assassination side of the characters for Among Us. You telling me, not Grand Theft Auto, nah, not the one where you can go ahead and smoke a blunt, jump on top and take a picture of yourself and bam, hit a cop like bow, not that one. Among Us. That's crazy. I'm here to put the record straight for all gamers, everybody, NBC, I don't give a damn. Stop this shit. Okay? I know you want to link video games to violence, violent crimes to video games. But guess what? The majority of people play video games. So in some facet, you will always be able to connect it to games. Gosh, I'm sorry. Now, Dr. Specimen, I'm sorry. I'm going to move on to the next subject. I just wanted to, before we go on anything you had to add to that as far as Luigi Mangione and the accusation that Among Us and the Among Us game somehow played a part with him being the type of person he is and to carry out with the alleged unaliving of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare.
Look, I'm gonna be honest here. I hope you can hear me fine. I'm by a busy intersection right now.
We can hear you great.
I'm gonna be real here. The media is never gonna fucking learn. It's 2024. This should have been a debate that was killed, dead, buried, and rested a decade ago. We're in 2024 now. We're in a generation of consoles so deep that people are almost starting to argue that console generations might be dying off. They're this so advanced that this idea of console generations is obsolete. Just it's too good. Any type of game you want to create, you can create. And the only difference is going to be how many frames per second and how many extra zeros you can add to the resolution. The fact that on top of that, just the general maturity of video games, and they still haven't learned. The fact that on top of that, they pick Among Us of all fucking games. That game's look, I still love playing Among Us, but in the grand scheme of things, that game's effectively irrelevant now. Effectively. I love Inner Sloth. I love Puffballs United. I actually just beat Henry Stickmin Collection. He also had something to do with making Among Us. Love them all. No shade to them. But I'm sorry, everyone knows 2020 was their peak, and it's only been downhill from there. Why even bring that up? I know the answer. It's for hate clicks, it's rage bait, it's people who are out of touch, and it's people who they don't really give a shit about solving any of these problems, whether it be why people want to kill CEOs or, like the reason behind the ideology of wanting to kill CEOs, or why, people are so mad at the healthcare industry. Like, they don't
Preach.
actually care about solving those issues. They want to do what will get them the most money. They can get boomers in by, you know, putting out one more slop article about, and yes, I use the word slop, which I hate, but it's accurate.
Good
Um,
talk.
you know,
Talk.
about, you know, oh, those damn video games once again. And they get people like me clicking because we want to see how stupid they look. And then you have the
Facts.
median person that, you know, who really doesn't know what's going on. And quite frankly, people who still read like regular news probably are thinking that, you know, people, you know, I I I
You're
I
hot.
don't
Keep going. You're
I
hot.
can't I can't
Keep
jump
going,
right
man.
on the train of like specifically X.com being like the bastion of all news necessarily, but let's be honest here. 90% of us, we get our news from alternative sources. We get our news from
We
social
do.
media posts. We get our
We
news
do.
from um quite frankly news corporations that align to our political views more. You know, NBC claims to be unbiased and quite frankly people don't want to hear that shit anymore. So they're a dying brand, and they need to do, in my opinion, publicity stunts in order to become relevant again. And I guess they're just trying to invoke popular 2020 video game to get a bunch of people to finally click back in when they wouldn't have done so, you know, normally.
Mm. Well said, man. Go ahead, man. Let me go
Also,
ahead.
just one other thing I just want to add too:
Mm.
the irony that they pick a game that is much closer to the genre of games that the boomers who look at this shit would play instead of something like you said, instead of picking Call of Duty or something that'll get the youngins riled up, they pick what is technically a mobile game. They pick a mobile
Oh.
game. Among Us is much closer in relative in blood to something like Candy Crush than it is to something like Call of Duty or even like a PC casual game.
Mm. Yo, you on fire, man. I'ma just tell you. You nailed everything. I'ma tell you, man. You nailed everything. It is ridiculous how it is a publicity stunt. It's no other thing you could say. Among Us, you and me have played many games. We have seen some of the most violent games, and I believe we've played games where we see some of the darkest moments in games where people don't usually think. They think Grand Theft Auto's sick. I've seen other games, so I think really the psychology is a lot sicker than a Grand Theft Auto or something, the basic stuff. So just imagine someone comes to you and a game that your niece or nephew says, "Hey, let's
You
play
haven't
Among
seen.
Us."
I'm gonna make this claim right now. You haven't
Stop.
seen video game violence until you've played like a basic war shooter in VR. Play it in VR
Bam.
and tell me how bad Grand Theft Auto on your shitty 2008 TV screen is. Then we can talk.
Yo, preach. Play Manhunt. Have you ever played Manhunt? Have you ever hidden and got a man with a
Play
shard of
Postal.
ice and just take
Play Postal.
Postal? Thank you.
You
Now,
can
if they
find
say
you
any
can
of these
find
games, I agree. I'm with you. It's
you can
ridiculous.
in fuck sorry. In Grand
Go
Theft
ahead,
Auto,
man.
it's it's kind of like an unwritten rule that everyone in that game is a piece of shit to some degree. Not necessarily
Preach.
in Postal. Everyone in Postal is an asshole, but they're not necessarily bad people. You go and kill them, shoot them with a cat, and then piss on them. You can't even do that
Exactly.
in Grand
Yep.
Theft Auto.
You can do that in Grand Theft Auto, and it's actually like encouraged. It's encouraged.
In Grand Theft Auto, if you really wanted to, you could be super nice to people. You physically cannot
Yes.
do that in you physically cannot do that in Postal. Now, this is from someone who fucking loves Postal and loves running with scissors.
I ain't
Great
gonna
game
lie.
company.
Yeah. Love Postal, man. I played Postal 4. I played all through. Trust me. All right. Postal
Shit,
is a very
I asked Postal the Postal dev team to sell me on Postal 4 directly, and they told me that they had a glitch where like a dog could ride a skateboard, so they tweaked it to make it a feature.
This is, man, let me go ahead.
I bought it. I pulled out my Steam app and bought it in class immediately when they told me that.
That's, man, you don't get dev like that no more, man. But nonetheless, we're gonna go ahead, Dr. Specimen. We're gonna move on to the next one. We got the another great segment, which I want to get your input on a lot of these. So we're gonna go ahead and bring you back in a moment. We're gonna go ahead and go over another topic real fast. Dr. Specimen with the smoke, man. If y'all don't understand, he coming with the smoke today. I don't know what he on today. I don't know what my on. I got myself ready just in case, because he a little too hot. I gotta start coming with it. You can't do me. Oh, my man coming with it today. Okay, Dr. Specimen with the flames. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on.